I mean, let's remember here, the people we are fighting today, we funded 20 years ago.
Mr. Speaker, under U.S. law, it is illegal for you or me or any American to provide any type of assistance to Al-Qaeda, ISIS, or other terrorist groups. If we broke this law, we'd be thrown in jail. Yet the U.S. government's been violating this law for years, directly and indirectly supporting allies and partners of groups like Al-Qaeda and ISIS.
Rob Dew reporting for Infowars.com. Now, what if I was to tell you that there is a Democratic congresswoman that has met with Trump and is against our country's policy of arming terrorists? I'm talking about the former Obama administration's policy of arming terrorists. And you could even take that back to the Bush administration and even the Clinton administration and the first George Bush administration. That's right. Arming terrorists so we have an enemy to go out and fight. Her name is Tulsi Gabbard, and she's a Democrat from Hawaii. Last February, she resigned from the DNC over the mistreatment of Bernie Sanders so she could throw her support behind him. And just after the election of Donald Trump, she met with him in Trump Tower to discuss her current legislation, which I'll get to in 1 second. But she called the meeting frank and positive, and she wants to push for legislation to end our country's illegal war to overthrow the Syrian government. And in December, she introduced the Stop Arming Terrorists Act. Wow, what a concept. It's legislation that would prohibit the U.S. government from using American taxpayers' dollars to provide funding, weapons, training, and intelligence and support to groups like al-Nusra, Al-Qaeda, ISIS, and other groups that I can't even pronounce. Well, this past week, she was on Jake Tapper's show on CNN. And she did an amazing interview because she really spoke truth to power and really threw it in the face of the globalists of what's really going on in Syria. Tapper opened up the interview with a tweet from that famous 7-year-old Syrian girl that even the New York Times and other publications have said her account is very dubious, and it seems like it's a propaganda account because of her grasp of the English language. That's right. Most 7-year-old Syrians probably aren't tweeting the president or even have a grasp of the English language to even know what "I'll be your best friend" means. So Jake Tapper asked Tulsi Gabbard about her trip to Syria, and she proceeds to blow open the whole narrative of what is really going on. Here's a clip.
My reason for going to visit Syria was really because of the suffering of the Syrian people that has been weighing heavily on my heart. I wanted to see if there was, in some small way, a way that I could express the love and the aloha and the care that the American people have for the people of Syria, and to see firsthand what was happening there, to see that situation there.
What did Assad have to say?
Initially, I hadn't planned on meeting him. When the opportunity arose to meet with him, I did so because I felt it's important that if we profess to truly care about the Syrian people, about their suffering, then we've got to be able to meet with anyone that we need to if there is a possibility that we could achieve peace. And that's exactly what we talked about.
She goes on to say there are no moderate rebels. There's only ISIS and al-Nusra and Al-Qaeda, and these people are terrorizing the entire countryside.
Assad has used chemical weapons on his own people. You said it's going to be up to the Syrian people, but there really aren't free and fair elections in Syria.
I'll tell you what I heard from the Syrian people that I met with, Jake, walking down the streets in Aleppo, in Damascus, hearing from them. They expressed happiness and joy at seeing an American walking through their streets, but they expressed a question. They said, why is it that the United States, its allies and other countries are providing support, are providing arms to terrorist groups like al-Nusra, Al-Qaeda, Ahrar al-Sham, ISIS, who are on the ground there raping, kidnapping, torturing, and killing the Syrian people, children, men, women, people of all ages. They asked me, why is the United States and its allies supporting these terrorist groups who are destroying Syria when it was Al-Qaeda who attacked the United States on 9/11, not Syria?
And this echoes what we've heard from General Flynn and even the leaked John Kerry audio, where he admits that they've been funding these groups and have been watching them grow.
U.S. counterterrorism officials asking, why are ISIS fighters driving so many similar trucks, and where are they getting them from?
Hillary Clinton has described already the meeting in the White House over 2 years ago. Everyone in the national security team recommended arming ISIS.
You are basically saying that even in government at the time, you knew those groups were around, you saw this analysis,
Sure.
and you were arguing against it, but who wasn't listening?
I think the administration. But what we're trying to do is help Syrians to fight for their own country. And we've been spending a lot of money, a lot of effort to try to help do this. So there's an opposition there. The opposition is doing very well. And if they're not serious, then we will help the opposition more.
Intelligence officials in Pakistan say a local commander from the terrorist network Islamic State has admitted receiving funds transferred via the U.S. He made the confession while being interrogated.
Today, we learned that the same group may now be in possession of a deadly cache of American-made firepower, Stinger missiles.
I think it was a willful decision.
A willful decision to go support an insurgency that had Salafist, Al-Qaeda,
Well,
and
a
Muslim
willful
Brotherhood.
decision to do what they're doing, which you'd have to really ask the president, what is it that he actually is doing?
As I've said before, this aspect of our strategy was moving too slowly, but the fall of Ramadi has galvanized the Iraqi government. So with the additional steps I ordered last month, we're speeding up training of ISIL forces, including volunteers from Sunni tribes.
She then doubles down on Jake Tapper when he tries to say, oh, we have never funded any terrorist groups. I mean, this is what we've been saying in the alternative media for the last 5 or 6 years, that we are funding these elements in ISIS, and people like John McCain, Lindsey Graham, and Marco Rubio are part of the problem, not the solution.
Obviously, the United States government denies providing any sort of help to the terrorist groups that you're talking about. They say they provide help for the rebel groups. Tell us more about...
The reality is, Jake,
Yeah.
the reality is, and I'm glad you brought up that point, because this is an often talked about thing by people like Adam Kinzinger and others saying, well, we've got to support the moderate rebels. Every place that I went, every person that I spoke to, I asked this question to them. And without hesitation, they said, there are no moderate rebels. Who are these moderate rebels that people keep speaking of? Regardless of the name of these groups, the strongest fighting force on the ground in Syria is al-Nusra or al-Qaeda and ISIS. That is a fact. There's a number of different other groups. All of them essentially are fighting alongside, with, or under the command of the strongest group on the ground that's trying to overthrow Assad. The Syrian people recognize, and they know, that if President Assad is overthrown, then al-Qaeda or a group like al-Qaeda that has been killing Christians, killing people simply because of their religion or because they won't support their terror activities, they will take charge of all of Syria. This is the reality that the people of Syria are facing on the ground, and why they are pleading with us here in the United States to stop supporting these terrorist groups. Let the Syrian people themselves determine their future, not the United States, not some foreign country.
So for me, it's very refreshing to see a Democrat who's a woman who is willing to meet with Trump, wants peace, and wants to end the policy of our government funding terror groups. And to all you feminists out there that are raging around that Trump's this evil man, I suggest you get behind someone like Tulsi Gabbard. She's someone that really could be our first female president. This is Rob Dew reporting for Infowars.com and Infowars Nightly News.
The Wall Street Journal reports that rebel groups are, quote, doubling down on their alliance with al-Qaeda. This alliance has rendered the phrase moderate rebels meaningless. We must stop this madness. We must stop arming terrorists. I'm introducing the Stop Arming Terrorists Act today to prohibit taxpayer dollars from being used to support terrorists.
This is Alex Jones for InfoWarsLife.com. The latest in preparedness is now here. An electrically stabilized colloidal silver solution that can be added to both your home cabinet and preparedness pack alike. Concentrated to 30 parts per million in what has been dubbed the Survival Silver Solution. The new InfoWars Life Silver Bullet Colloidal Silver is the answer for you and your family. And it's entirely free of toxic artificial additives that are loaded into many products. The InfoWars Life Silver Bullet Silver is so powerful that it is concentrated into a 2-ounce bottle and is not recommended for extended continual use. This is not a low-grade formula. We are working with one of the top laboratory manufacturers in the United States to bring you the best form of colloidal silver using electrical processes within a base of deionized water for your preparedness storage. For your home kitchen, purchase your bottle of InfoWarsLife.com Silver Bullet Colloidal Silver today and find other amazing supplements at InfoWarsLife.com.